Looks like it's cold in Portugal.
Hi, Sergio.
Hello, hello.
How are
How
you?
is very fine. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of
I,
course.
I hope you are doing very well. How is the sound? Is
Well,
working?
we're hearing the music very well.
Eh, But I'm in a cool place here just to relax a bit. They put the music sometimes too high.
It sounds like you're in a club. You know, we can't do that over here. We have to avoid people. We're quarantined.
But it's fine, man. It's okay, man. We never get. We just stay at home 2 months, and then it's. And where I live, there is not not many people, so it's okay. It's,
Excellent.
Wow.
which is good. I still have concerts and life keeps. Well, it's a small country. It's more easy to control what's going on. Still some measures and restrictions, but it's we still have life keep going. We have some like at night we go home after 11 p.m. and in the weekends we cannot move from regions to other regions, so we need to be a bit more control. Otherwise, the hospitals they get too many people and they cannot.
Right.
It's just but we still have concerts with the restrictions and because a country like Portugal we cannot stop everything again because otherwise it's going to be a catastrophe. A country like Portugal, which is a country we are used to buy more than we have to sell. So the economy, this is going to be so difficult already. So if we put everybody against home, everybody, that's going to be collapse.
Right.
Which it's kind of. But I think people they understand and people they are nice. They. I don't see anybody trying to. Of course, there is always crazy people, but that's not because of the pandemic. It's always like that. So you cannot change those people.
Right. Right.
You can have a vaccine, and those people they will keep around, walking around. So it's well.
So, what kind of concerts are you performing? Are these like large venue? Do you have thousands of people, or are they cutting it down like they are here, like to 200, or that sort of thing?
No. It's well, we have these jazz concerts with strict measures. So they have this, also in the orchestra, I play a couple of concerts because they keep playing some Beethoven, Haydn, and sometimes I play, but they have these measures in the wall, so they have a rule that they have one seat that it's nobody there, and they have the
Oh,
mask.
okay. Yeah.
So it's everything is clean, so culture is possible. So
Right.
some people I think they exaggerate too much because that's not in our domain, in our kind of music, jazz and classical, that we can have a contagious people. It I think doesn't happen. It's happen in metros, in bus, in normal life where is many people going on. But in our field, I don't see any confusion anyway.
Right. Well, Jarrett, you're doing something this week. In fact, Jarrett, you're in Winnipeg.
Yeah. We've been doing a little bit of stuff, just like Sergio, like just small stuff. And it was funny because before they were doing sort of chamber orchestra stuff, and now that they're doing chamber ensemble stuff, I'm playing more because tuba doesn't play in Beethoven and Mozart, but when they have brass ensemble stuff, that's when tuba is needed. So it's funny that it got smaller and now I'm needed, but before I wasn't. So Sergio, you have a really good relationship with Gene Pokorny, and I really like Gene, and you really like Gene, and I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about that because I saw a picture of you giving him a lesson a couple years ago, or that was last year.
Uh,
Um,
well,
yeah.
this is not the first time. Just that time, there was Andrew was giving lessons there at the Chicago Symphony Center, and with another student waiting, and he just make some photos, and I was just giving a lesson to him. But that's not the first time. It's kind of weird. Well, he organized all this, so then he gave me we lunched together, and then he gave me a list of tuba players and euphonium that I would be teaching in the afternoon, and there is names in the list, and the first one it was like a schedule, but it was nobody there. There was no name. I just said, who is this guy, man? There's no name here. And he told me, well, it's me. It's me. Well, come on, this is kids. I don't like this kind of jokes. I told to Gene, this is a joke. It's kind of weird. No, I want a lesson because I want to understand everything you do with the tuba because I have no idea how you can play tuba like that. So I want to know. I want to try to discover your secret, and I just well, and we start to play, and then the most thing that so he start to play Prokofiev Fifth Symphony, and then so then he asked me, what do you think? Well, the only thing I can say is it's too much breathing. You make too much noise when you breathe. And then he started to repeat again, and then he realized, yeah, I'm doing a lot of breathing noise. It's a lot of noise. I tell this to my students, but when I play, I don't realize I make so much noise breathing. And then he starts like that. But some years ago, I organized a low brass festival in my small town, and Gene was here a couple times. And also, I remember one time he asked me, "No, you're gonna give the masterclass for me?" I said, "No, come on, it's not me. You are the guest. I'm just the artistic director. I don't give any lessons to nobody. No, you're gonna give lessons." So I was giving a lesson. Okay, the same thing. People they come and they play Von Williams and this and blah 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 blah. Well, and then he has always his book notes. So he's always writing something. You talk about a book, you talk about the commentary on the TV, you talk about I don't know anything, and he make notes all the time. So then after the masterclass, then he told me we need to talk, and then we lunch, and then in the afternoon they play some excerpts with the trombone guys, and then after dinner we saw the concerts, and then at night he comes to me with 8 pages of questions. And then, what is that? Well, it's my notes from the masterclass. So I want to know. Now I want to have answers. So we spend like I don't know 4 or 5 hours during the night, just talking together, just about these questions, and I try to answer, but I don't know what to say. It's just this kind of experience that you feel. You feel so inspired. You feel like it's where I come from, an expression I have in my life, my philosophy of life, which it reflects in my way of being in music. We are learners for life and life. Yeah. So Gene is that example. It's always learning. It's always trying to go to the next step. And I got lucky because I studied also with Roger Bobo when I was in Switzerland. And Roger is like that. He's always trying to learn. He's a visionary. He thinks in the future, in the next generation. So he's always thinking in the next. For example, Roger or Harvey, even Gene, they have made so many things. Even Charles, you have made so many things for us too, with Canadian. But not only for the ensemble or for them, they do for the next generations. The legacy. We provide from all these commissions and arrangement from Canadian Brass. We provide from commission from Gene, from recordings, from I don't know, from so many pieces. Roger, Harvey, Phillips, also they. So this is very inspiring. And what I do in my life is trying to keep going that line. Making commissions, recording many CDs with new music, with I don't know any kind of formation, tuba and harp, tuba and stripper. I don't know.
You know, Sergio, what you're talking about is probably the most important single message to young players, is that there's not an end to this. You don't study for a while and then go out the rest of your life and use those tools. You're constantly on the search. A good friend of ours, you remember Ron Bishop, who was the tuba player in the Cleveland Orchestra.
My last CD is dedicated to him.
Oh, beautiful. Well, every time you'd see him, he'd have his tuba in one hand and a briefcase in the other hand. He was constantly carrying the latest contemporary music, things that he'd commissioned. He would go up and talk to you. He's the one that twisted John Williams' arm to write for tuba. He was constantly on the lookout. And this is a fellow that could have easily just sat back and he loved the outdoors. He could have been paddling his canoe, just having an easy life, but he's constantly on the look. And as you said, constantly asking questions. What are you doing? What have you done recently? You know, who have you talked to? You know, what can I follow up on that you've been working on? And so what you're talking about is I think the really great players feel this. It's the ones that are sort of haven't found that secret. You know, if
Yeah,
Gene
it's
Pokorny said, "I want to know your secrets," it's an open secret. Is that you just love music and you love the process and you're out searching.
yeah, yeah. It's
Really
why
great.
some people they ask me why I commission and I record so much. I have just 5 CDs coming out. I just finished to record the CD. And now I make vinyl. I don't make any more CD. I put
Right.
digital. I make the, just get the commission from Gregory Fritz. I just record all his book of etudes. He hired me to record this, and they are so difficult. It was very challenging. I just finished last week, and now I'm gonna edit. I have some promotional videos already done, and but you know what? I'm just always recording because it's my way to keep learning, to keep in the process of always trying to go a bit more further. It's my way of also to give my motivation, and there is every time you finish a project and you listen and you still well. I need to do better. I think I can do a bit better, a bit different.
Well, Sergio, this gives me an idea, and Jarrett, maybe this is something that we can do. We meaning you, Jarrett, is right now. I'm sure everybody listening to Sergio talking is saying, you know, I'd like to listen to these. You just mentioned 5 CDs. Where are those? Why don't we make it really obvious and easy to find this material?
Well,
Because
that's
think
my own
this-
problem. I don't care nothing about that kind of stuff. People they know where to find if they contact me. I have not big labels. I do my own things, but I'm going to put all of them available during this Christmas time, available on Spotify and iTunes.
great.
And because some of them I don't have anymore. I just have a CD with Jeff Nelsen. Maybe you don't know, but I
We're going
record
to talk about Jeff a little later. Yes, indeed. We're going to talk about that.
That's
We tried to get Jeff out of bed this morning. He's in California, and you know he's a very large fellow, right? I mean he's 6'4" or something, and he probably, gosh, knows what he weighs. It could be anywhere from 150 to 500 pounds. I have no idea. He's big.
I don't
And he
think Jeff is
just-
500 pounds, Chuck. I
And he
just want to
just
set the
couldn't-
record straight.
He said he just couldn't possibly get up in time. Well, being in California, okay, fair enough. But he sent, first of all, he sent very friendly regards. Apparently, you two guys really bonded and recorded. Want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we just got we got a prize, the Roger Bobo prize with that CD, and in fact, some of those pieces we record. One is from the Canadian composer Gary Kulesha.
Yeah.
So he wrote that piece for Scott Irvine was his name, and then
Irvine.
that was sent me was a manuscript. So now the piece, because not many people knew the piece was played in '73, the year I was born. So, and then an amazing piece, and I just found out, and we record, then it becomes very famous. So I think there is another tuba player recorded piece already, and it's played all over the world. And the piece was just manuscript, and now they make a nice edition on the score. I also recorded a nice piece by Lon Chaffin. He's a composer from the United States, from Albuquerque. Lon Chaffin, he writes lots of music for. There is a jazz tuba player. Well, not a jazz, he's a very eclectical guy. I don't remember his name. He just recorded a piece with string quartets by him. Doors is the name of this. I don't remember his name.
Okay.
But the recording is on Summit Brass, on Summit label, and I don't remember his name now. But and then I just commissioned some other pieces, and we released the CD. But of course, I have some small labels and but most of things I do with my sound guy, my designer. I have the guy who makes the photos, so I have the whole. So I always organize all the team, and I try to keep the same guys, because I believe in a very. If you find a good team, you should keep that team, because then you know already.
Well, you were definitely prepared for this, the COVID era. You already had your team in place. I think a lot of people now are scrambling. Life was pretty easy before, and now suddenly we're all out looking and saying, well, wait a minute, how do we do this? How do we do this for ourselves? It's turning a whole world into entrepreneur. You know how they're teaching entrepreneurship in colleges now? Boy, an era like this just creates that. You don't need a course. You're in it. And now how are you going to take advantage of it?
Well, I wish I could learn that before because I needed myself, and still I have this kind of problems which I just released a book and not many people know, but it's because in fact I'm not this kind of guys who try to feed my ego. We are our egos, but I don't care. In fact, I'm just a guy who enjoy playing music on the tuba, and I don't care what people they think. I just do my best, and I just enjoy for myself.
Right.
It's a bit selfish, but I don't care. In fact, and I don't create any expectations about what people do. I just do my best and try to help. If I see someone who needs to be a young guy who needs help or is very talented, I try to give him some tools and some inspiration, some advices, and also I do the same for me. And so I see now with this social media there is too many guys trying to fit egos, too
Right.
many trying to fit egos,
It's getting very noisy on the internet.
and there is no quality. They do everything so that people they have dislikes and it's things and this very it's and there is so many ignorance out there that for example on YouTube you have the good stuff very close to the bad stuff or the not so good. So and the young guys they have no idea if they don't have experience or maturity. They don't know to separate the good from the less good stuff. It's for them it's the same thing. They have no idea, and they have the information so easy, but in a way, if they don't have someone to tell them, okay, this is not so good, this is good. So they need to have someone who explain why this is good or not, because they don't have enough experience or enough knowledge to make the choice. So this is a bit dangerous, in fact, to have so much information and there is no everything is in the same box, the good and the bad, everything. So there is a problem. So we need to use the social media in our field in a good way to promote things, to promote the good things well, I think you all know that. And so for me, it's I like to use that for this kind of stuff, and but I'm not really a business guy. Far away from that. So it's why I have so many recordings and so many things, and sometimes people they don't know or they don't know where to buy. But it's my mistake. It's my mistake. It's because I don't think about that.
The marketing part.
Yeah, it's getting a bit better, but it's I know that it doesn't gonna give me much money for that. So I just
Well, Sergio, you remember there was a fantastic publication. The Brass Bulletin was a European publication. Jean-Pierre Matez ran that. And I think that did a lot of what you are talking about. It really singled out excellence and it reviewed quality products. And there's been nothing to replace that. And that seems to be really needed now. We don't have that official, like an international organization that says, hey, take a look at this and compare it to this. That isn't happening. And as you say, like the internet tends to be kind of individual. Somebody's doing their thing and only their thing. It's not in the sense that you don't have that evaluation or comparison. That is missing.
Yeah, it's missing that bulletin. I played while I was in Switzerland. I played with the one of the son of Jean-Pierre Maté.
Okay. Yeah.
He's playing with the company. He was a horn player, so we played with the Swiss Chamber Brass Quintet. And I have a collection of Portuguese music and other music that I commission and I record with Aniela. Is the teacher at the university in Zurich. He was with the opera, Zurich Opera for many years, and we commission and we make the collections there. So we have a couple of collections of music that we commission there. But Jeremy for a while was too much work for a small family business, so Jean-Pierre stopped the magazine.
Yeah.
He keeps the company, but we need that. It's the same thing. I loved before. We have the International Euphonium Association, but I like the name, the Brotherhood.
Right. I know.
It was kind of.
We were talking about that. I was around the original. There was a fellow in Montreal that came up with the name EUBA, which is really clever. Tubists Universal Brotherhood Association. And to me, that's still what it is. It's hard for me to ever get past that because it gave you that idea of a fraternity of people that are all sort of aimed in the same direction and the same outlook. What do you think, Jarrett? Because you weren't around during the TUBA era.
It's true. Our instrument can seem, like Sergio said, very egotistical sometimes, and also very competitive. I feel like a lot of people are like at each other's throats all the time, like because we're all trying to get the same job. But I love, I mean, Sergio, what you do like over genres, and you're collaborating with so many different musicians. I think that's really revolutionary, and that's like hasn't been done previously. I'm wondering, how do you find the energy to do all these projects and commission all these works and record these CDs? And where do you get your like life force energy from?
It's maybe Chucky understand what it means, because it's a life of dedication of many things that I wish I would love to do, and I have not done. So I'm not married, I have no kids, so I dedicate my life to music. So it's kind of, it's why I think I deserve respect from some colleagues and people. Some people, I respect when people, they have their family and they dedicate their lives to other things. So for me, I even if they don't like what I'm doing, at least this, I think I should deserve respect, because I dedicate my life just to this 24 hours a day, to music and to my basset hound. So
Jim Self, you and Jim Self, basset hounds.
yeah, and Gene also.
Yeah, Gene has 4 or 3
no
now.
kidding.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the secret. Now we're getting to the secret.
Scott Irvine, you used to have a basset hound, you told me.
Yeah, there's something about like being really successful on tuba and having a basset hound. There's got to be like a connection there. So for
Getting late and have a low voice.
yeah, for all those tuba players who like want jobs out there, the key is getting a basset hound. That's the thing.
So I was talking about this dedication. So this energy comes from the passion. I think when I'm not doing this, I get stressed. When I'm not working or organizing process or making a festival, organizing a masterclass, or doing some stuff, just before this meeting, because Floyd now, he lives in Portugal, Floyd Cooley. So he lived very close to me, and now he's south. So I'm trying to bring him 2 days for a masterclass private for 6 people, only 6 people. But I'm trying to find a place. It is not easy because I'm not teaching anymore in Portugal. I just quit. I was teaching for Mr. P at the Indiana for a while, and now I don't want to come back to teaching in Portugal because it's too much academic for me, and I get sick, and I'm not at all in this academic thing. I'm an outsider. I'm a wild guy, so I want to be in the box. I'm not in a box.
Speaking of wild, do you want to explain all those skateboards behind you? Are these yours?
Yeah, well, I'm a wild because I like to be in the jungle. You are free, but you live in a kind of in a discipline. There is some organization in a way, because for example, there is an animal doesn't kill another one just for fun because he needs to eat something. So in my case, it's kind of the same. I like to be free, but still have some. I need to have organization. I need to have this discipline. But there is no box. There is nobody tell me what to do or not. Because in the school, it becomes too much academics now. Because in Europe, for many years, we got the Conservatory of Music, and the conservatory was not connected to any university. The degrees were not the same. So
Okay.
it was a different world. But now with this kind of degrees inside of the music, inside of the other disciplines, it becomes too much bureaucratic. We lost a lot of time, hours, and the students, they are in the box. So the students, they go there, and it's like you need to do that. If you want to do something different, there is always something who tells you not, don't do that, or don't go there. Don't try this. Or it's for me in my class was a bit different because they could play any kind of music they wanted. I just want my what I wrote there in the university in the tuba class was they could play anything. The only thing is they need to play good with good taste, and they need to sell the product. If the audience likes, they're gonna sell. They're gonna buy again that product. So they need to think in the market. What they are playing, someone gonna buy it or not. So why, if nobody gonna buy it, Why are you doing that? Because you need.
Sergio, okay, do you think, we talked a little bit about this, the International Tuba and Euphonium people. Do you feel like they are pointed in this direction enough where music, I know that Harvey Phillips wanted to create a tuba as a solo instrument. This was his life goal. But do you feel that there's enough of the communicating with the audience side where it needs to somehow be a worthwhile enterprise that people like and they want more of this? Or is it kind of splintered off where it just gets more and more esoteric and pretty soon even tuba players don't want to listen?
Well, yeah, it's a good question. It's not so easy to answer, but I will try. Well, in my experience, something art should have some meaning, should have some message. So if doing just things just because you want to try to do something different to try to sell or find a market does not mean you have some quality or it has a message. So in my case, I always want people, I want a message, I want something artistic. There is, people should know how to work in a team, with a team. I'm an orchestral musician, so I work in a team also. But I'm also a soloist. But I try to tell to my students, and everybody who asks me, you play solos? Yeah, but for me it's kind of my hobby. I got lucky. I make kind of a living. Sometimes I play more than Oystein solos with orchestras and with, because I have free in my orchestra. They let me travel a lot. But I have many projects. I'm the bass. I'm always the bass. So I need to learn how to make a living doing the bass in a Dixie band, in a funky band, in a wind band, orchestra, whatever I do. The tuba, we are the bass. We show the sound, the rhythmical stuff, the tuning, the chord progression, the time. We are the structure. They don't need to have an harmonic instrument or a drum or percussion. They need to have a bass. And we, as tuba players, we are the bass. So we need to have a good bass sound concept and have a good structure, know about style, time, harmony. And after we have this in our mind and we understand, then we can think going to the soloist thing. Because anyway, we are always the soloist doing a bass line. We are solos. We are creating a melodic line in the chord progression. So I believe a lot that we are always soloists. We are alone. We are most of the ensembles. We are one voice. It's only one tuba. So we are always soloists. It doesn't matter what we are playing. So, but I believe a lot that we are. Sometimes people are too much focused in making solo competitions, and they cannot play a low C. They can play much. I've been so many times during competitions, and so guys, they play for example, Matson Sonata. It's kind of a euphonium piece. They on the medium minor resist all the time, or first movement, and then they go to a B flat, low B flat, and they cannot play a low B flat. So I'm making the question: why are you playing this? Because then in the real life, you're gonna do an orchestral job. You are out in the first round. You cannot of Vaughan Williams because you don't have low resistor. You have no control, no tuning, no sound. Okay, you can play high, but in the real life, how many times you're gonna play those notes? You don't gonna play all Schmidt tuba concerto every day.
Right. Mr. Jacobs, I remember responding to this, one of the lessons I was there, he was talking about, he says, why is it that all the trombone players, the bass trombone players come in here and they want to play our tuba music? And all the tuba players want to play up in the trombone register. He says the money range for tuba is the middle. This is what people want to hear. They want to hear you play low notes. You're a tuba player. They don't necessarily want to hear you playing the high range.
So many players that I've listened in master classes that sometimes I spend like 40-45 minutes just trying to get a good low C. And they cannot play a good low C. Most of people, even on the Yamaha tubas, which is, it seems to be more easy than on the BNS, on the rotary tubas, I don't know. But they cannot play. I remember I was giving a master class at Eastman School, and one of the students is a great player. He plays fantastic. And he was playing the first phrase of John Williams' tuba concerto. But he plays the high notes beautiful, and then he comes to a low C, there is no sound, out of tune and no sound. He said, hey, what are you doing? Where you go? that the piece ends here, man. You cannot keep going because you on the sounds that we are expecting you to play like a tuba with a good sound, it seems to be in a normal resistor, you cannot do it. But you play very high, better than a euphonium player. So what's the point of that? Because we need to be realistic. It's why I was a bit sad in this academic world, because people, they were training to do something that is not the real life. And I was trying to change. I was trying to make my students play, for example, final recitals, make ensemble playing, make their own music, start to write their own music, make arrangements. And because this is what they need to do. They need to be versatile to make a living. And for example, now after this pandemic, there is our jobs. There is no secure jobs and many freelance guys. So we need to be very smart and eclectical, understanding different styles of music so that we can make a living. If they need a tuba player for today to play at 7 p.m., we need a guy to play a Dixieland gig, and you should know all the tunes, and you say, okay, I'm available. Or if you say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't play Dixieland, okay, I'm going to call another guy. So you lost the job.
Right.
And you are, I only play Williams. I play John Williams. Well, what are you talking about?
Right. So, I'm curious about your experience at Indiana, because you filled in for Dan Perantoni, Mr. P. What was your experience like there, working with a whole body of young American hotshots?
Well, that's, for me, it was just an honor, and they wanted me to stay the whole year, and I could not for that moment, but it was supposed to come back to teach for a while in another time. So for me, being invited by Mr. P to be there, and then I go to the first time I go to the room and I see the photo of William Bell, which is the only book I use since the William Bell scales and arpeggios is the only book I use every day. I only scales and arpeggios. I do nothing more. In fact, it's the William Bell, and then I see Harvey Phillips, and I was in the same studio, original studio. They don't change the new building, and then I get inside of this, and I don't know, just this inspiration. I remember when I was younger, the first book they gave me was the William Bell Tuba Method, and I could not believe one day I was enter in the studio. Mr. William Bell was the tuba teacher, or Harvey Phillips, because it makes, even in my best dreams, that's not possible. What I was doing there was just, it was weird the first days that I'm here teaching in this school and in the place of Dan Perantoni. That's insane. I was a bit trying to understand how is this possible. It was very. I was not scared. I was very happy, but at the same time, very strange. It's also experience to be there.
That's nice. Well, Mr. Bell, I can understand Bell. I mean, he's a giant in the tuba history, and Harvey Phillips just spent his whole life. But Dan Perantoni, I mean, come on, give me a break, Dan. I met Dan when I was just starting out in college. We were just enough apart. He was just leaving. I was just coming in. And the first thing he did is he put his arm around my shoulder and he said, Chuck, you need to get a new tuba. You have to get a Miraphone 186.5. And then right away, selling tubas. It's been our relationship our whole life.
My Yama guys doesn't care. I say all the time, tubas have no brain, and also tuba players, in fact. So right. a good symbiosis. Right.
Sergio, I was gonna ask you. So we had Roger Bobo on before, and he was saying that, like, if he could change time and if he could go back in time, that he would just have done solo and he would have just like not done the orchestra thing. Do you ever see that for yourself? Do you ever see yourself only doing solo stuff and not playing in the orchestra, or do you really enjoy orchestra music that much?
Well, yeah. Well, both things are great. I like to be there to playing Prokofiev or Stravinsky or Rachmaninoff, whatever. and sometimes in Strauss.
Wait a minute, Sergio. You just named off all the things that are really fun to play on tuba, and that's about it. I mean,
Yeah,
Prokofiev swung the tuba out separately.
yeah. Oh, but I need those weeks where I'm playing good repertoire in the orchestra, and then I even enjoy even more when I'm out playing solos or doing my jazz stuff. And then I come back again, and I have a week in the orchestra where I can also enjoy my wonderful colleagues playing real instruments, real solo instruments like oboe, amazing solos, flute, and all this. And then you stay there as you get inspired by that music. And that music, I think, helped me to keep me trying to work more to achieve the same level as a cello player. When I listen to the solo cello playing those solos on Strauss and Brahms, and I say, man, I need to copy that. And I need to try to copy that kind of, and the oboe then comes with the solo and this phrasing, and then, man, I need to copy. When I'm going playing solos, I'm trying to copy what I've learned from those instruments, from my colleagues. So it's, and also I like the week in the orchestra from the discipline, hierarchy, the kind of, it makes me have more balance on my routine. Because if I was playing all the time jazz and solos, I might lose that kind of routine. I might lose I used to say when I'm in the orchestra, I have time to breathe. It's my office. I have time to organize my solo gigs and my agenda. I have time,
Right.
bars to count. So I need those weeks to put my mind focus in, and I have time to relax. And then I think I need those to be happy.
Actually, you're following a trend there that's been around historically. Tuba players have so little to do in an orchestra. Even in a big major piece, you might have one page and the violinist has 20 pages. So a lot of really fantastic things have come out of the orchestra or out of the orchestra pits. The co-inventor of the Moog synthesizer was a tuba player in New York who played Broadway shows, and he'd be working on this during his off time, and then he'd pick up his horn and play. And Harvey Phillips, of course, always had a briefcase full of business, and he ended up being the assistant dean in New England Conservatory because he had that time when he's doing these pit kind of engagements. He could work out his business. And I think the percentage of tuba players that have become the personnel managers of their orchestra is very, very high because they have the time to fuss with that. So you're right, it does become kind of an office place.
Yeah, it's for me, I can say that Jim Gourley speaks, I think, 5 or 6 languages correctly and right. And he was learning when he was in the Zurich Opera before Aniela was there. So I think he learned all these languages. I speak in Portuguese because the wife is Brazilian, but I speak with Jim Brazilian, and he has time to conduct. He learned how to conduct. He's a great conductor, James Gourley. And there's so many things in the orchestra that if we are smart, of course, I think I'm lucky to play in the Porto Symphony. It's a very good orchestra, but it's not so famous to make these tours and make these recording sessions. So guys like Gene or Mike Rollins or Alan Baer or even guys in London or other orchestras, they have no time because they're touring all the time. They have always programs to do, and they have like concerts of 5 a week. And I don't play in an orchestra like that. So I have time to do other things. If I was there playing, for example, if Gene would love to have me playing in Chicago Symphony for a while. So I was trying to get a visa to work there for Gene for some months. Because Gene is, I was supposed to play the Christmas concert with the brass, but with the visa I was teaching in Indiana, they could not hire. So it's problems to have a visa to work in professional orchestra.
Wait a minute. I could have played that. Jarrett, you were probably free. How come we didn't get a call? Darn.
I don't know. I would hire Sergio over me.
Okay, Sergio, I got to ask you. This is important. Canadian Brass was in Porto. Did I meet you when we were there? You must have been about 15 years old, I think, when we were in Portugal, Porto. And my recollection, this is my takeaway from our entire touring in Portugal and the wonderful audiences and the people and the musicians, was lunch. Going into any restaurant, you'd have 2 or 3 bottles of port wine, and they didn't, like here, you get served port, you get this little bit of port, but over there they'd pour it out like a full glass, and this would be lunch, a full glass of port. It's a whole different tradition.
Well, in fact, I think not, because the port wine, they drink the Porto wine. It's a normal wine. We are talking about different kinds of wines. They have the normal wine, and they have the Porto wine was a bit more sweet wine. And this we still drink with the coffee after we lunch. So because they have the Douro, the wines. So if you are drinking, it's a Porto wine. It's the Douro wine. In fact, it's the wine from the wineries in the valley of the Douro River. So it is different. So then they have the Porto wine, and of course we don't drink Porto wine when we are eating because it's too sweet, and it doesn't taste so good. So it's kind of after when we drink a nice small espresso coffee, then it tastes good if you have the small wine because it's sweet and it's like a appetizer. But I remember that concert in Santa Maria da Feira, Europark. It's where I meet Jeff first time. He was
yeah.
and the master class, and I saw the concert. I was already in Porto. I was not so young, in fact. So I remember perfectly playing the big auditorium, huge, close to Porto, in Santa Maria da Feira. It's a small city close to Porto, and it was fantastic to see you guys in action, and also the master class was in a small auditorium, and it was some people playing. And it was very special. In fact, it was very special because everybody was waiting for you guys to come to Portugal after touring all the world.
Right.
This small country there, waiting for to see and enjoying Canadian brass was like a phenomenal experience.
Well, and for us, I mean, it was just fantastic. I mean, there's a camaraderie. There's just a different feeling. Like you're all like one big family, and it had that feeling there was definitely very strong, really wonderful. When you met Jeff, so that turned into somehow. Did he invite you to the horn convention? Is that how the continued?
Well, I meet Jeff in the Hamamatsu in the academy. I was teaching there.
Oh, okay.
Many times, and Jeff was there once, and we just make a extremely good connection. And then I invite Jeff to come to play in the orchestra 2 weeks, and he comes with the family. And I told Jeff, we're going to record the CD right here. Nice. I find the pieces. I commission one piece, we record with brass ensemble, and then it's kind of which I find the role, I find the sound engineer, I organize everything. So then when Jeff was there, in the middle of the 2 weeks, he was playing Mahler second and some other thing, and then in the middle, in the weekend, we rehearse during the week, we record in the weekend. And then we record the CD like that. And
nice.
So I have another CD. I meet James Thompson, trumpet player in Hamamatsu. It's the same thing. We just record. We have a new CD coming out together. We recorded in Portugal 2 years ago. So I just commissioned the pieces. There is a new piece by Visuti for trumpet.
Oh, great.
There is 2 other new pieces, another one with brass ensemble, trumpet, tuba, and brass ensemble, and we just record also like that. They just come in 2 days or 2 afternoons. We just record the CD.
Wow.
Why do the?
And you also, Gene, you have a CD coming out with Gene, right? When is that coming out?
It's already out.
Oh, wow! I gotta listen to that.
We present the CD last year in the tuba conference in Iowa University.
Okay.
We present there the CD. The project calls TNT, Tuba and Tuba. And I commission all those musics, and we choose. I commission more. We just choose those that we could record with a good level. So some other were a bit more tricky, and we have no time to rehearse. So we just needed to be very precise and very pragmatic. In fact, so
yeah.
And then it's fine. I also have a CD with Mike Forbes, the transatlantic tuba connection. Just the same thing. With Mike, make friendship long time. So I have many CDs that I have with many friends. I have also a CD, the tuba, Yama Tuba Duo with Chimpe, a great tuba player from Japan. We have a live CD recording in the Ginza, in the Yamaha Music Hall in Ginza.
Oh, yeah.
it's a live CD with the Portuguese repertoire for two tubas, piano and drums. Which
Wow.
so,
kidding.
so it's kind of
That's crazy.
it's
This guy's on fire, Jarrett. He's on fire.
I know. So you're doing these Fritzy etudes, and then what else do you have coming up?
Well, I have a new CD with accordion, which is a project that I have. It's the second CD, and we're going to record the 24 Preludes, Opus 34 by Shostakovich, a version for tuba and accordion. The
Cool.
Penderecki Capricci for tuba and accordion, which is a jazz version I made of this thing. It has some spots that we open to improvisation in the middle of the piece. So it's going to be something. And I have a new piece by Lucian Ben, who is a Romanian jazz piano who lives in New York. So he also wrote us a very nice piece for us. And maybe Gregory Fritsch is finishing a new piece for accordion and tuba. So it's a kind of eclectical album. But I have the other CDs coming out with. I have with Nimrod. It's the tuba player. He's from Israel. He plays in Iceland. So we recorded a CD 2 years ago of music I commissioned for two tubas, bass, contrabass tuba, and brass ensemble. So in fact, it comes out in this Christmas in a vinyl, just vinyl. And then
through this whole conversation, it's been troubling me. Sergio, you got to get to work. You haven't been. I mean,
You're so lazy.
This just doesn't sound like enough production. Like it's only like 1 or 2 CDs a year. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy. Do you get any government help? Do you get government help, like funding you?
For my this last vinyl I just released now, I got some money from the state. The state they open twice a year. They have funds to support. Of course, there is now too many applications.
Sure.
So I get some money. And
I know Americans are always surprised at these. Well, Canada, we have the Canada Council, and there are Factor Foundation to assist.
Just a new piece by the Canadian composer Laura Pettigrew. He just sent me a new piece for two tubas and piano. In fact, I just premiered one last summer for tuba and piano that year she wrote, and she got the money. I wrote a letter, and she got the money from the Canada
Council.
Also for this one, it's a new piece. Also, so also Elizabeth Raum. She was in the festival 2 years ago. I commissioned a couple of pieces and I record from Elizabeth Raum. And sometimes I just need to write a letter, and she can apply. And in Canada, it's also I can see it's a bit like Scandinavian. I have many pieces by Scandinavian composers that they find the money there. I don't pay. I just need to write some things and say where I'm going to premiere, where I'm going to record, and they get the money from.
Well, I've always been, when you see the Lindbergh recordings, very often he'll be with a big orchestra, and you know how expensive it is to record an orchestra, and they'll get that kind of help. It's really helpful because otherwise we would be swamped by the big monolith, the U.S. Recording industry, and I think a lot of countries have programs in place to help do that. Yeah. So Jarrett, that sounds like a lot of possibilities here. He's mentioned a lot of pieces. I think you're going to be.
I just commissioned a concerto by Nicole Lizee. She's a Canadian composer that I'm premiering next year in Canada. But I'm just so impressed that you're not commissioning one piece. You're commissioning like 1,000 pieces.
Well, each project has their own identity, and that you have the right composers for each project. And of course, sometimes I also play many styles of jazz or improvised music, and I have players who play with me. A piano player like Telmo, which also a composer, plays any kind of music, or Schwetz, who is a guy, he was playing with Piazzolla before he moved to Portugal, so he knows a lot about Argentinian folk song music, and he's a good improviser also. Or the accordion player is a fantastic jazz guy. So sometimes the pieces are too much specific for the players, which sometimes are not easy. For example, if you're going to play some of the pieces that I record, sometimes the composer opens for solos with a difficult chord progression or something, and if you don't know what to do there, then you cannot play the piece, which is a bit. So now I'm taking care about telling the composers, okay, you're going to write but I have too many pieces composed for me that for most of tuba players they like and they cannot play, or because they are too difficult, because they don't know the phrasing, the language, so the style. So you need to be careful because you need to, even if there is some open parts, solos, just write music so that many players they can
Right.
play that music. Otherwise, the music stays there, and I record, and nobody gonna play again that piece anymore just because of
Nice.
I don't know, some stuff.
Sergio, this has been amazing to talk to you, and just the many things you're into. I just got this message from Jeff, and I'd just like to read this. Sergio, so sorry I couldn't join you this morning. I was just too lazy to get out of bed. I'm sure we'll be performing again together soon, and I think you're one of the great tuba players in the world. Keep at it, Jeff. So there you go.
Nice.
So thanks so much for joining us. Jarrett, this is a great call.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Sergio. You're amazing.
Well, thank you for having this. I'm very honored, and
This has really been fun.
you keep doing this because I've seen many of these programs, and it's very inspiring. And we are a small community, and I believe that if the world has the same love and the sense of working in community as tuba players have, it will be a better world for sure, very quick, because we work in community, we know how to work, and because we needed to be a strong community to achieve what we achieve until now. Otherwise it wasn't possible, because tuba players, who cares about tuba? So we needed to be stronger and very unified. So I think we are a good example to the world, the Tuba Association, the Brotherhood. That's
The Brotherhood, yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much, Sergio.
Take care.
Really great. Okay.
Bye, Sergio.
Bye.